This is it, the final of the Club World Cup, and it is me, the GOAT of Club World Cup predictions. Oh my goodness. Did I get pelters in the comments from people saying that Real Madrid would beat PSG? Because once again, my tip was PSG to win. This time at odds of 2.3. We all know what happened. They won 4-0. Someone left me an absolute essay as to why, basically, I was a moron for saying that PSG would win and not taking into account the red cards, which, by the way, I did. I took everything into account. I even went as far as to say Real Madrid would at least score, which they didn't. We've got every single tip exactly right since before the quarterfinals this Club World Cup. We've been absolutely smashing it. We're at the top of the Super Brew League that they put us in at the start of the tournament, and with only one game left, no one in the league can even catch me. Even if I have an absolute stinker and everyone else gets it exactly right, they still can't catch me. So yeah, the Club World Cup has been very, very good, and it bodes well for the upcoming season. Just yesterday, we had all of these winning accumulators over on the Patreon. We had PSG to win right there. As I said, doubled down, put on the Patreon, had there to be 4 goals in the game, again, right there. Also with some European qualifying games in there too. We correctly predicted Shelbourne would win 1-0. I could not believe the odds of under 3.5 goals at 1.44 for a game involving Dynamo Minsk. Like, they're obviously going to be low scoring. I wasn't brave enough to do under 2.5. Would have been like evens. It ended 1-0. I mean, you can look. That was literally just from yesterday. Here are all the correct scores and all the other stuff as well. And flash up on the screen all the people that are supporting me over on the Patreon. So if you want to get a shout out in every video, you want to get involved for the giveaway that we're going to do at the start of the main football season, and you want your exclusive members tips, accumulators, messaging access to me, the group chat, all that stuff, then just click that Patreon link in the description below. We've been providing a lot of value, and it's only going to get more and more as we head into the new season. So massive shout out to everyone that has supported me over on the Patreon. It's been a great fun time so far, and there are tips on the Patreon right now. By the time you're watching this video, you can check out tips for the 10th of July if you're that way inclined, with the Europa League and Conference League kicking off if you're quick. So click that link to join. And now it is time for the Club World Cup final. Chelsea up against PSG. I mean, I tipped in the last video to just predict Chelsea and PSG to be in the final as an outright, because I just saw that happening. But as I said, nevertheless, if we go back and look at the run, I've also got a bet builder in this video, by the way, odds of 40-1, just because it's the final. It's the only game we're going to be talking about, so it'll be really, really interesting there. But if we look at Chelsea's competition and run to the final, it's quite interesting. So Chelsea, they beat Los Angeles FC 2-0. Fair enough, we predicted they'd win by 2 goals there. They lost to Flamengo, and that was the result that meant they didn't finish top of the group. So in their third week, they did beat Tunis 3-0. That was always going to happen. But their loss to Flamengo meant that they finished second in the group and got a more favourable side of the draw. They still had the likes of Man City and Inter Milan potentially to come up in the quarterfinal, but both Man City and Inter Milan got knocked out in the round of 16, where Benfica lost to Chelsea in extra time. So from the quarterfinal onwards, Chelsea were the firm favourites to make the final, and we predicted they beat Palmeiras 2-1. We predicted Chelsea in under 3.5 goals in the semi-final against Fluminense. I said 1-0. It was 2-0 to Chelsea, and they've made it to the final against a PSG team that have had an incredible competition. I mean, before the FIFA Club World Cup on my sheet here, the prediction before that we had with the Champions League final. Again, I tipped PSG to win that, and they won 5-0. But then they carry on. They beat Atletico Madrid 4-0, essentially knocking them out of the group stage. They lose to Botafogo 1-0, despite dominating the game. It does have to be said. And then they go and win their third game as well, beating Seattle Sounders 2-0. They then come up against, in the round of 16, it was Inter Miami. I predicted 4 goals in that game. I said 3-1. PSG won 4-0. They came up against Bayern Munich in the quarterfinal. I said PSG would win by 2 goals. They did. They came up against Real Madrid in the semi-final. I said PSG would win and over 3.5 goals, and it came in. They've destroyed everyone, and it's no secret, I do think PSG are going to beat Chelsea here. I'm finally, for the first time in a PSG fixture this entire tournament, am I predicting both teams to score. Surely Chelsea have to score. I mean, they could easily not. PSG could come out the traps like they did against Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan in the Champions League final, and just win to nil, blow them away. And I do expect them to blow them away, but Chelsea are a decent team. I was one of the few people who predicted Chelsea to finish 4th in the Premier League last season. If you go back and watch my video from nearly a year ago, a lot of people were not putting Chelsea anywhere near the top 4. I did, and they finished top 4. I think Chelsea are decent, and albeit an easier route to the final than PSG, they are here, and they are probably PSG's hardest test. I don't know what a lot of the comments talking about Real Madrid. I don't think they're on it right now, Real Madrid, and PSG certainly are. They are the best team in the world, and it's rare that you can say it with such certainty. No team has really come close to PSG this year. The only team, and I know I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm going to sound biased, but just watch the games, look at the stats. The only team that came close to PSG was Arsenal. Arsenal beat them on XG, I think, across both legs. Liverpool beat PSG 1-0 in the Champions League, but they did not deserve it. Again, I know that sounds salty, but PSG were all over Liverpool. And other people will say Aston Villa had them on the ropes at Villa Park. PSG were like 3 goals ahead. They weren't going to lose that tie. They just weren't. Arsenal were the only team that came close to PSG. And PSG dealt with them in the end comfortably enough. Obviously, they wouldn't be happy with the XG and how close it actually was. They were quite fortunate in the way they scored their goals. Unlike against Inter, Real Madrid, where they've just been awesome. It's the only word. They've been awesome. So I think Chelsea are going to struggle here. I'll give them a goal, but my score prediction, it matters not. PSG are going to win. I'm going to say 3-1 to PSG, but in case we see a 3-0, a 4-0, the tip is going to be PSG and over 2.5 goals at 2.1. We could see 2-0, so err on the side of caution, perhaps PSG and over 1.5. PSG to win outright is 1.6, and having tipped PSG to win outright in the semis and the quarters at odds of above 2, it didn't feel quite right tipping PSG at 1.6 in a final, when in the Champions League final the odds were also 2.15. So I think there's value to be had here. But now, the bet builder. I have 6 selections here, all adding up to odds of 41. PSG to win at 1.6. Both teams to score at 1.66. That's a tough one. Chelsea do need to contribute here, and like I said, we have not seen both teams to score in any PSG games this entire tournament. Ousmane Dembele to score or assist at 1.57. He's awesome. I mean, when PSG win the Club World Cup, he's just got to win the Ballon d'Or. You got to feel sorry for Salah, but it's difficult because Dembele won everything there was to win. Salah had an exceptional season statistically and individually, but they won the Premier League. A team wins the Premier League every year. PSG won the French Cup, the French Super Cup, the French League, the Champions League, and if they win the Club World Cup. Dembele has won everything there is to win. Salah won the Premier League and got knocked out by PSG. So it's harsh on Salah, but if they win the Club World Cup, because not only are PSG winning everything, Dembele is so crucial to that team, and somehow he's escaped his injury woes of previous years at Barcelona and Dortmund. So it has to be Dembele for me, and I think he will make a mark in this final. And then, to really bump the odds up, I think Chelsea are going to struggle, and I'm going for Moises Caicedo and Marc Cucurella to both be booked. Individually, both odds of 3.1. So just those two to be booked alone is odds above 9. And then PSG over 3 corners at 1.3. That bumped the odds up from under 30 to 1 to 40 to 1. So PSG to win and both teams to score. Dembele to have a goal contribution. PSG to have over 3 corners. And then Caicedo and Cucurella to get booked. Odds of 41. PSG win 3-1. Just to complete a season that's been basically a year long. They'll have a couple of weeks off and then right back to it, playing God knows who in the French league, looking to win it all again. But finally, it's worked out for PSG, becoming the powerhouse that they've always wanted to be. The Galactico era, even Mbappe, it didn't work out, but they are the most well-oiled machine out there in the world. And my friend and I, we had this debate yesterday, or he pitched the question, he's like, where do you think PSG would finish in the Premier League? PSG would be, at the very least, odds-on favourites with the likes of Liverpool and Man City, in my opinion, if they were in the Premier League. Because you could argue in the French League they don't have that competition week in, week out. But at the same time, PSG against Sunderland, PSG against Wolves, PSG against Bournemouth even, Fulham, PSG just win all of them. So I do think PSG could win the Premier League as well. I think they're absolutely awesome. Interesting debate. Let me know if you think where you think PSG would finish in the Premier League and what you think is going to happen in this Club World Cup final. I don't think it's all over for Chelsea. I think they're going to have a good season next year. Probably will finish top 4 again. But that is going to do it from me. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.